Hey guys, what's going on? It's Roth and Jim here to talk about the confirmation of a rumor that was happening a few months ago that Syfy is developing a series that takes place on Krypton.
Yes, and not just on Krypton. In fact, you have the official boilerplate on what the hell this show's all about.
I happen to have the synopsis
right
here. Let's tell the people about it. You've probably read this yourself, but it is years before the Superman legend we know, the House of El was shamed and ostracized. This series follows the Man of Steel's grandfather as he brings hope and equality to Krypton, turning a planet in disarray into one worthy of giving birth to the greatest superhero ever known. That may be debatable, but that's a conversation for a different day.
And then kicking him the hell off that rock.
That last assertion may or may not be debatable. So the creators of the show, the producers, are David S. Goyer and Ian Goldberg of Once Upon a Time and Flash Forward. So,
well, David Goyer, in case you guys don't know, if you know, but he is the writer of Man of Steel, executive producer on Constantine.
Yeah.
And of course, he wrote Batman Begins and was involved in crafting the stories for the entire kind of Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, and kind of and did the Blade trilogy as well. Wrote those.
Right. So just based off of this information, the network is Syfy. This is Krypton. It is the grandfather of Superman, a character we haven't really explored before.
Right.
It's David S. Goyer and Ian Goldberg. Thoughts? Initial thoughts?
Okay, my initial knee-jerk reaction was eye roll. I'm like, why do we need this? Why do we keep going back to, like, let's make shows about set in the world of the heroes, but they're never going to be in it. I have mixed feelings on Gotham, but the more we kind of talked about this show and the more we spitballed, I think this could actually work. This because it's taking place in a time that's, as far as I know, has been relatively unexplored, if at all.
It's not
in the
his
comics.
parents. Like
his parents.
His parents have been explored a bit, but the grandpa, we don't even know if they're born yet.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like if it's Jor-El's grandfather, and I'm hoping his name is Gary L. That, we don't know the fate of this character or anyone else he's going to deal with. We can imagine what's going on in that world. Probably House of Zod is going to be there. Maybe, maybe Jor-El's grandfather or father, I guess, and Zod's dad could have some sort of relationship. There's a number of different things you could do with it. So I think they could actually kind of navigate around some of the landmines and pitfalls that have been plaguing Gotham in terms of fan service and kind of winking and making everything have to tie together and all that.
I mean, it feels to me like it's about the family.
It's got kind of a Corleone saga idea.
It's got kind of a Corleone saga. It's got kind of this vibe of, we're going to explore, I don't know. We haven't seen the show yet. We're just basing this off a very short synopsis, but this idea that we're going to explore the political machinations of this world. Krypton's kind of an interesting world to explore. I like space. I do. I like other planets. I like science fiction. So, but it could be this kind of Game of Thrones vibe, where it's like political machinations and one family, one house going after another and vying for power. And there's a house that we're behind that we believe in.
Or even like Dune was kind of like that too. And Syfy did the couple of different Dune miniseries or TV movies, right?
Let's talk about Syfy. Now, they are very, the people that have brought you Sharknado 1, 2, and soon to be 3. They are really making an effort to sort of turn back, a return to form to some degree of the Battlestar days, where they had truly, with Battlestar, they had excellent television on the air. They want to, and frankly, when they had Battlestar on the air, they still also had the Asylum films. They had the original Syfy sort of silly, like Piranhaconda films. I don't know if they had exactly Piranhaconda, but it films like that on the air at the same time. So that wouldn't be totally unusual for them. They've had some great little miniseries here and there. So I don't think we can dismiss it out of hand. I know probably some people will, and I understand that. Just because it's Syfy, that also doesn't mean it will be good.
Right.
They've certainly had some problematic television as well.
I think, I think the fact that they probably think this is a safe bet because it's got the Superman connection. However, I think also the larger question is, and you can speak to this, that the DC movie and TV universes are completely divorced. That has been officially said.
Absolutely,
we can see that obviously from the casting and the movies versus the TV shows. But we are talking about David Goyer, who did Man of Steel. You have to imagine some of the ideas, or at least the seeds of what ended up in Man of Steel, could be used in this series. Like just the idea of them being you're born into basically like a caste system. Like your family are just warriors, your family are just scientists. Like, will that play a part in there? Is there going to be anything like setting up sort of like the idea that Krypton's days are numbered? Or...
Well, it's a Krypton in disarray, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe what Krypton is needing in this period of time is order. Maybe that's what it's lacking. You know,
a Superman of a different kind.
So I don't know. I think he could take a couple of different approaches. I wouldn't be surprised if he borrowed from himself a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say that, again, they have said very strongly that these are totally separate universes. They are not connected. This will not be a prequel into Man of Steel or anything of the sort. It will exist as its own thing. I assume if they're continuing on with what they've done, you know, they have two separate actors playing the Flash in the movies versus TV.
Yeah.
What's surprising to me is that Goyer's been fairly open about connecting far more to Batman as a character than Superman. So there must be something, I think, about the political nature of this world that's a little dark and dreary and fun for him to explore.
And they're going to be behind the Wayne's murder in Gotham now? It's all going to come full circle? Yeah.
I just mean that tonally, he has said that he was not as comfortable dealing with that character. I think pretty openly, you know?
I think that look, there are plenty of ways this show could go wrong, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there's at least not that built-in lack of suspense that you have with something like Gotham, where you know this character's not going to die, that character's not going to die. Oh, this completely invented character, yeah, they could probably die because they're the only one you can get rid of. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with Jor-El's grandpa or whatever, or any of these other ones. Uncle Billy, you know. Uncle Billy, you know, cousin Rufus. We don't know what's going to happen.
The whole clan could be up for grabs.
Will they bring in the harvest? I don't know.
There's all kinds of possibilities. Look, I think, again, and I would certainly understand people feeling a little bit cynical about this at this point, and I could understand people going, you know what, I love Superman, but this isn't something that I need, and you're going to screw it up. I understand all of those concerns. I would say that there's potential here for something interesting. Let's wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, just the way we've talked it up, it sounds like we're trying to set a higher bar for it. But we'll see.
We'll see. Let us know what you think, you guys. Let us know in the comments below. We'll certainly have more about this show as details emerge. So for all things Krypton, keep it locked right here to IGN.